I see Conan as a very heroic character, and he's a perfect hero because he's not all perfect. So people can relate to him, you know, because he makes mistakes. He is bad in some ways. He's not like a Superman that is goody-goody all the way through the movie.
I think that I've never done a film that was that physical, number one. Also, that had so much dangerous scenes in it. I mean, there is no stuntman that really can double me in dangerous situations, so because nobody has a body like mine. So what happens is I have to do a lot of the stunts myself. I have to do a lot of mountain climbing, fast horseback riding, riding on elephants or camels, you know, these are all crazy animals we're talking about. Or climbing towers, climbing ropes. A lot of wrestling and boxing and pit fights, sword fights, where you're always very close to the blade, to a sharp, real 10-pound sword blade, you know. So you get into a lot of dangerous situations, but what it does is it makes you stretch. It makes you grow as a person. You're exposed to danger, and I think it's a good experience in a way, you know. And also, I think that what has been very unusual in this part is that I've had really the best director I've ever worked with.
I'm a historian, and I enjoy things of a historical nature, and I've always had a great interest in pagan cultures and pagan times, and it allowed me to do a pagan movie.
The character, Conan, is doing a lot of things that you're normally not allowed to do in this society, you know, because the film takes place at a time of maybe 12 or 15,000 years ago, you know, and at that time, you know, there was no religion, no morals, nothing, you know, you could just kill people and plunder towers, steal, and, you know, have women left and right and all those things, eat like an animal and all. It is fun to do for a change, you know, and getting out of that, you know, eating with knife and fork and being always proper and well-behaved and all those things. It's nice to switch over to this and be that for 6 months, you know, so that's a lot of fun to do that.
I never write with anyone in mind, even though when I was writing it, I knew Arnold would play it. I didn't know Arnold. And I try and pick the people that would mold to the story as best as possible. I just look at people until I find someone and I say, that's what Valeria should look like. That's what King Osric should look like. I thought of, once I'd written it, I thought of what an interesting idea of having James Earl Jones play Thulsa Doom.
The role I play is, again, the villain. I'll call him a prehistoric Darth Vader. He's the Batman. He's a sorcerer. He's the one that causes much of the evil that Conan has to combat in the film.
Yes. You know what it is, don't you, boy?
I was tired of competition bodybuilding. You know, I won everything. I won for 13 years the world championships in bodybuilding. So there was no more challenge for me really there. So I thought of getting into something different that will create a lot of challenge for me, and it will be very difficult. And one of the things that is always difficult, especially when you're in Hollywood, is getting into acting, because everybody wants to do it. And of course, no bodybuilder ever has made it in acting. You know, they have done a few Hercules films or stuff like that, but not really gotten into acting. So I thought that would be a big challenge to do, and so I got slowly into acting and did the first movie, Stay Hungry, got a Golden Globe Award for Best Acting Debut, and that really got the whole thing rolling. So it was really what I liked about the profession was that it was hard for me to get into. There were a lot of obstacles, and it was something new for me to fight for, because I was used to fighting for a goal or achieving the goal, and acting was one of those things, you know.
I am a product of musical theater, a 6-year veteran in New York City, and could probably continued in that realm for a long time. But I wanted to explore another media. The lucky thing for me with Conan, which is why I'm so thrilled about it, I was able to incorporate what I do best, which movement is my thing. And Valeria is a woman of movement and incredible flexibility, and I mean, she's the best. She's a master of the sword. So So I think I made that transition pretty well. I don't know what's in store next, but for the first time to break into that, it was the right project.
I've been trained for stage, and I feel I know what I'm doing. I have a better sense of my responsibility, but I love doing films. I love doing television. I think television is very, very important for the whole world. So I would not say I prefer one over the other. I feel perhaps more comfortable on stage, though.
My son.
Well, for competition, I used to train 4 hours a day, but since I'm not competing anymore, for this film, for instance, I'm training with weights 1 hour a day. I run a half hour a day. We do almost every day sword practice. We do all kinds of other physical activities, you know, to get ready for the next scenes for the next day and so on. So I think it's now altogether maybe 2.5, 3 hours of physical fitness training, but weight training only 1 hour now.
Arnold and Jerry Lopez and myself, we all three did train. I trained 3 months for the film and learned kendo. We would train like 3 days a week, maybe 2.5 hours.
Well, all the films that I've ever done have been personal films. Something that, you know, I was accused of one of my films is that we made a personal film there. I think they're all personal films. I think that any director, or a lot of directors make nothing but personal films. John Ford never made anything but personal films. Kurosawa really made nothing but personal films, and both of them made big adventure films.
I know.
So it's quite possible. It is really a personal film, but it's also a big adventure film.
Well, it's going to be an important film. I'm not talking about how the critics receive it or how the box office receives it. It'll be a very important film because it is picking up a thread that we saw with Star Wars, very frankly. A thread of epic adventure. This is a thread that goes back to the past, but it's the same thread of epic adventure that all human beings are very anxious to see. Not for escape, because there are very important lessons you can learn about the past and the future, or a writer's imagination of those times. But that's the importance, is epic drama, you know. Being from the stage and loving Shakespeare, I think I can compare it, not in terms of literature or dramaturgy to Shakespeare, but in terms of size to Shakespeare, you know.
This is the Temple of Set. This is where the snake cult of Thulsa Doom is centered. This is his mountain of power. And they have lots of snakes. I've kind of gotten to like them. They're very pleasant, these kind of snakes. This is a boa constrictor, and they're very, very nice, pleasant snakes. I never liked snakes before, but I've kind of gotten used to these.
Yeah, I think my goal is to be up there, equal to a Clint Eastwood or Robert Redford or any of those guys, and I'm very well on my way. And it's just like setting a goal, like being Mr. Universe or being a millionaire or something like that. And but you need always a lot of help from other people, you know, like in everything else. And in this picture, I've gotten tremendous help from John Milius, who is directing the film and wrote it, and gave me the chance to be in it. And I think with that, it will move me a step higher up. And now I'm from 1 to 10 up to an 8. So I have 2 more steps to go, kind of, you know.
I think that with what we have seen so far, and an overall basis of a world release of the movie Conan, I think we can see the definite sequel, because it's considered extremely successful film. Wherever it opened successfully. So I'm looking forward to doing a second movie. I love the character of Conan, and of course I hope to do other roles at the same time, you know, maybe something totally the opposite of Conan, maybe something very light or romantic or comedy or whatever.